demon dialogues. There are 3 types of demon dialogues, and essentially, just to give you the overview of what a demon dialogue is, Aaron, is a demon dialogue is the internal dialogue. So it's within us. It's head trash. It's conversation that's happening in our heads. It's probably a monologue, but it's going on inside of our own brains that create conflict in our relationship. And so what this comes down to is there's 3 ways that this can show up in our relationship. These are all types of demon dialogues. The first one, find the bad guy. Find the bad guy. So in a scenario where we end up in the conflict of find the bad guy, it's a cause and effect type pain.
I feel this way because you did that.
Yeah, you did this, and because of that, I'm now experiencing this pain. Or because of that, we are in the scenario.
Yep.
You are the reason. You are the cause. You are the problem.
It's your fault.
So find the bad guy. The downside of that is any time we choose, and most of the time these are going to be unconscious choices. So really this is going to bring awareness to how we show up in a relationship. But anytime we do this, we completely rip away our own ownership.
Correct. Yep.
So if you're the bad guy, then there's nothing I can do to change our scenario.
Sure.
There's nothing I can do to get myself out of this pit. We're here because of you.
It's good.
It's not helpful.
No, it's not helpful, but I know that our listeners can probably resonate with that. Because if you find the bad guy in a relationship, you get in a conflict, in a fight, you notice what instantly happens as soon as you point the finger at somebody else. They get defensive, closed off, and shut down, and then they find things to be wrong with you. And it just turns into this game, almost like a dance, where you're just pointing the finger back and forth and not really creating any progress.
It's true, because in relationship, if one person doesn't win, then the entire relationship doesn't win. Yep. So as long as you're pointing the finger, there's 2 things that happen with this. One, there's no ownership taken, which we already talked about. But what's even more powerful is there's no responsibility taken.
Good.
So we're going to be in this pit as long as you keep doing these things, right? There's nothing I can do to help it. We're here because of you. And it's very powerful. At the same time, it's very captivating. You become handicapped in those scenarios. And so these show up more often than we're probably willing to say.
Sure, 100%.
So if you're pointing the finger, realize that there's something that you can do within yourself to change that scenario. Going way, way back to one of my favorite equations, x plus y equals z. As men, we own the y. So regardless of how our x is showing up, if we change anything in the way that we're showing up, our outcome, the z, changes for the positive.
So good. Love that. All right, stepping into the second part of the demon dialogues. Protest Polka.
Don't hear that word very often.
Polka.
Down here in the South, we don't really polka. I feel like that's a Midwest thing.
I don't even know that I could identify what polka looks like. I think that I can hear a little bit of like the polka sound.
You need an accordion, that's for sure.
That's an accordion. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the accordion. So the protest polka is essentially a dance, a negative dance back and forth. So this is where the music comes in. If you want to think polka or whatever genre of music you want to think of, just think of it's a dance. It's a negative dance. So in a protest polka, there is a bid that's made and typically some sort of withholding that's made.
Okay, so break down what a bid is, just for the listeners, because I know that's something that you guys use often in the same team. We talk about it a lot, but that's a key part of getting your needs met is understanding what a bid is and being able to perceive your partner's bids.
A bid can either be a nonverbal or verbal projection of something that you want or desire. If I'm walking down the street with my girl and I hold my hand out, that is a bid for her to reach out and take my hand. In our relationship, my 2 love languages, Aaron, are quality time and touch. So at nighttime, when it's our no leftovers last 30 minutes, I may make a bid towards my wife and I'll roll over to cuddle her, expecting her to roll over and let me cuddle her. So a bid is made, and then some sort of response can be made as well.
Yeah.
But a protest polka is when a bid is made and then there's withholding. I'm not going to give you what you're asking for. And it creates this negative dance of conflict where pain arrives. Where we see this most often, because most people don't call conflict, they call conflict fights. It's like, here's something that I have a feeling, so I'm going to go put my gloves on, I'll be right back, you get your gloves, and we'll see how this turns out for us. So how this protest polka typically shows up is one person is being critical and aggressive, and the other person is being defensive and distant. Right, so there's something that I want, there's something I need to talk about, there's something that we need to work through, I've got this issue, I've got this problem, whatever it may be, and this person is either being defensive, as in, I need to protect how I feel, you don't understand, you don't hear me, or they're fleeing,